A Philosophy of Freedom study course is available at philosophyofreedom.com for free. Welcome to a conversation about Rudolf Steiner's Philosophy of Freedom. Readers of the book are being interviewed to find out what freedom means to them. Real freedom exists, but the illusion of freedom also exists. Can you tell the difference between real freedom and the illusion of freedom?
The discussion is about freedom. So, let's get to work. Now, what does freedom mean to you?
Indifference.
Oh, you did not find the book to be interesting?
No, the book was very thought-provoking. What I mean is the freedom of indifferent choice. The freedom of indifferent choice is the ability to make a neutral choice between two possible courses of action. It is called the freedom of indifference, because I always maintain enough indifference to not be determined by anything other than myself. Although many things can potentially influence choice, I have the power to say no and not act.
How do you experience freedom?
When I make a choice, I am not indifferent or impartial at all. I make choices according to what I really want. I love the freedom of choice.
What does freedom mean to you?
For me, freedom is not about choices, it is about a necessity to express who I am. I have my own, unique nature, formed by my roots and life history. I have no choice but to be genuine, and just be myself.
What does freedom mean to you?
My nature consists of many traits. Some of these character traits are better than others. Ha ha! By developing character, I improve my conduct by freeing myself from outer influences. My values become part of my disposition, they become a natural part of me. I do not accept an idea to act unless it is approved by my character and values.
A voluntary action is the result of a conscious motive. An action is not free if it is the result of an unconscious urge of human nature, or if it was implanted in us during youth for the sake of character development. Free action is the result of a conscious motive that I recognize and understand. The problem is, we may know what to do, but we do not always have enough motivation to act. People tend to be split into knowers or doers. But the one who matters the most is the knowing doer, the one who acts out of knowledge.
What does freedom look like to you?
I am free when I use the power of reason to reach my goals. Rational thought gives me the freedom to determine my actions according to clear and precise goals. Rather than being controlled by the daily ups and downs of emotions, rationality keeps me clearly focused on the goal. Having practical goals gives purpose to my life.
But can't you rationalize any action? Reason can be more than rationality, it can be holistic. It can bring the many separate parts into a unified whole. Broad-minded reasoning will include ethical questions such as the consequences of your action.
Excuse me. Whether or not you'll actually achieve success likely won't depend on your goals. The ability to do whatever you want is determined by your external circumstances.
I think you are both missing the point of what individual freedom really is. It is about free thinking, not one's outer place in life. The question is not whether I am able to carry out a decision that has been made, the question is how I come to make the decision.
Woof, 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 woof.
Freedom to me is being spontaneous. What I just did was completely spontaneous. It was unconditioned behavior.
Sorry about this display. Get down, Rusty. I think Rusty is right. Spontaneity is important. The knowing mind of the human being can experience spontaneous insight. This insight can be the impulse for spontaneous action. A flash of intuition originates a new beginning, a first cause.
Welcome to our discussion. What does freedom mean to you?
It should be obvious that an action cannot be free if you act without knowing why. To me, freedom is to have knowledge of the motive that guides my action.
How can you know why you act? What is the real cause of action?
How do you come to know anything? You think about it. Knowledge is gained by observation and the thinking analysis of science. Every motive to act, that is not merely an instinctive reaction of the reptilian part of our brain, contains thought. By introspectively examining your motive, before or after the action takes place, you can discover these thoughts and ask, what is their origin? But thinking is a skill that has to be developed to be effective. The deepening of knowledge depends on intuitive insight, that expresses itself conceptually in thinking. Making progress developing the ability to think, is making progress toward freedom. The action is mine, only if I have full insight into the deed.
And what is your view of freedom?
While I am engaged in action, I don't have time for the calm deliberations of reason. This does not mean I am not free. Motives, which I have freely created and continue to create, have become part of my own being and a part of who I am. They become the heartfelt driving forces of action. My motives are bound up with my love for the objective, what I want to create. I am driven by my love for what I am creating. I am guided by my heartfelt sensibility.
What determines the whole character of conduct is one's ideals. I do not allow the ideals of others to be imposed upon me. I freely select my own ideals. The more idealistic my motive, the more I love striving for it. External powers may prevent me from doing what I want, but that will only condemn me to do nothing. But they will never enslave my spirit by driving my motives out of my head.
Pathetic. She is just envious of my wealth.
It is not that. She is not devoted to your business principle. That greed is good, so you are unable to see any good qualities in her. You are blind to her good qualities because you lack the humanitarian principle important to her, given to others. She is a beautiful person who cares about others. Your perception of others is not free. You are blinded by your narrow-mindedness.
I would like to welcome our final guest. What does freedom look like to you?
I'm an ethical individualist. My task in life is to express my ethical ideas in action. I'm inspired by the warmth, clarity, and empowerment of intuitive thinking that deeply penetrates into the reality of the world. Truth gives me the strength of will to overcome obstacles and realize my ideals. I do not live for pleasure. When it comes, I consider it a gift. I do not live for duty, for I am my own master. I measure the value of my life according to how well I have achieved my noble goals.
The one who expresses all the aspects of freedom discussed here is the ethical individualist. His freedom is real, because it originates in the insight experienced in pure reasoning. Recognizing the laws at work in life situations, he rises to the level of pure reasoning to select the ethical principles to be applied in each case. These principles are imaginatively translated into specific action to transform the world. A clash of intentions is impossible between free individuals who draw their intuitions from the level of pure reason. Only the morally unfree who blindly follow their natural instincts or the commands of duty, turn their backs on their neighbors.
To learn more about ethical individualism, read Rudolf Steiner's Philosophy of Freedom. There is a Philosophy of Freedom study course at philosophy of freedom.com, available at no cost.